We're talking about letting your geek flag fly today. Here's why. It's because having a vision for your business is like reading Twitter your entire life and then discovering that there's such a thing as books. The world stops being scary and overwhelming and starts to make sense. Your competitive advantage online is that you're unique and that you're special and that you're weird. And we all are. Authenticity, though, isn't the problem. The problem is trusting that our authentic self is enough. Trusting our uniqueness and working backwards is the essence of having a vision. Anxiety and overwhelm don't result from the amount of work you have to do. They're the result of not knowing whether the work you're doing is making any difference. Most of us don't need to work more. We need to get better at choosing what we do. I want to tell you about Ben Mudge. Ben got popular online because of his long hair and his resemblance to Thor. And he was good at creating content, don't get me wrong, but he found it difficult to make sales despite having over 100,000 followers. Nothing about him stood out. Even with a big audience, he was yet another muscular dude that made nice videos about exercise on the internet. As a result, he was the okay choice for a lot of people and not the obvious choice for any. But he was playing it safe. He was hiding his true self. You'd have never known it from his videos, but behind closed doors, Ben's a certified dork, obsessed with a miniature fantasy game called Warhammer. Be authentic is advice you hear all of the time. Be true to yourself, they say. It's not authenticity you need, it's trusting that your authentic self is enough. The best way to become the obvious choice online is to share a nerdy obsession, an uncommon commonality with a subset of people. Being unique and special and weird is a competitive advantage. Fortunately, we're all geeks, but in different ways. Take what you do seriously, but please don't take yourself too seriously. Archaic industry norms are designed to bring everybody to the middle, the safe spot, when nobody disrupts the natural order. But customers don't buy from industries, they buy from humans. Professionalism is a lie that needs to die. Lambert's Cafe throws food at their customers. Their website is literally throwedrolls.com. Cards Against Humanity runs anti-sales satirical Black Friday promotions as a statement opposing consumerism. In 2014, they sold literal poop, sterilized bull feces, for $6 each. Over 30,000 people bought it, and they donated the profits to charity. And Ben? Well, Ben's a muscular guy from Belfast who plays a tabletop fantasy battle game called Warhammer. Warhammer is an expensive hobby that requires disposable income. The majority of players are men, and many of them have difficulties in social scenarios. As a socially awkward man myself, believe me when I tell you how much getting all jacked and muscular and stuff helps with the lady folk. Thank you, Ansel.
Well done, John. Well done.
Women tell me that they don't care much about big biceps. They're attracted to confidence. But guys like me are stupid. We don't get it. So we want muscular arms and think that girls like them, and that gives us confidence, which girls actually do like. I guess what I'm saying is that in a roundabout way, muscular arms for socially awkward guys like me does actually help get girls. This is all weird. It took me a while to figure it all out.
Correlation is not causation.
And yet, despite hearing that from the token female on this podcast, always nice to have a token white woman on your podcast. Despite hearing that, I'm still too dumb to accept it. And I'm still going to go into the gym and do fucking forearm curls for no reason after my functional training workout. Because that's how dumb I am. Warhammer players have money and are motivated to get into shape. As a result, they're a great market for physique training. No longer embarrassed by his secret hobby and armed with clarity around what he wanted to sell, who the customers were, and what they wanted, Ben had to figure out the next step, which was, where am I going to find them? David Nordquist runs the biggest YouTube channel for Warhammer called Mini Wargaming. They've got over 500,000 subscribers. Ben's a fan, sent him a message saying that he was going to be in the area of his studio and could he drop by. Dave said yes, and Ben booked a flight so he'd actually be in the area. For reference, Ben lives in Ireland, Dave lives in Canada. In addition to Ben building his own Warhammer audience, he's putting Dave through a physique transformation which is documented on the YouTube channel. In a video published on August 6, 2023, called I Lost 40 Pounds for a Warhammer-Inspired Movie Role, Dave says, Ben Mudge is a dude who looks like Thor, okay? He's a bodybuilder, fitness coach, and he plays Warhammer, so perfect combination, right? Different is better than better. According to Sally Hogshead in her book Fascinate, different doesn't try to turn you into something else. Different allows you to highlight the singular traits you have already within you. You aren't necessarily better than your competition, but you are already different. Don't aim to be the best. Aim to be the only. For years, Ben was playing the physique coaching game on hard mode, demonstrating exercises online, creating undifferentiated content, and wondering why more people weren't buying. The magic happened. His path only became clear once he let his geek flag fly. This section is called What's My Age Again? In homage to Blink 182. I listened to the song after I wrote this, and I was like, God damn, Blink 182 is good, man.
Such a good song.
What's my age again? What's my age again? When you wouldn't know this.
I'm familiar with the band, but I can't say that I have ever purchased their music.
White boy light punk music from the 1990s. Oh, you're not familiar with this, Ryan? I'm so surprised.
Yeah, I'm more of a Hootie and the Blowfish lover, John.
Yes! See, never mind.
Get
Go
down
on
with
tangent.
the Hootie.
Hootie! I have a friend who is a very good friend whose name is DJ Hootie Who. And he's like this 57-year-old doctor who just like DJs music festivals. Every time he sees him, he's like, DJ Hootie Who! And he's just like basically an old man.
I love it.
At 36 years old, I decided that I didn't want to act my age. And so I bought tickets to go to my first electronic dance music festival. You want to know how old I am? I call it an electronic dance music festival. It was called Veld. I went with Allison. The daytime DJs were great. You also want to know how old I am? I got there when it opened at 2:15. Yeah. That's how old I am. Still, we danced like fools. Nighttime hit and the crowds arrived. We had already been there for about 8 hours at this point.
This is awesome. Oh, this is a good story.
40,000 screaming EDM fans packed into the field as the famous DJ Martin Garrix took the stage. The noise from the speakers mixed with the screaming dancers all around us was deafening. If Allison and I wanted to speak, I'd have to yell into her ear. I could have screamed at the top of my lungs, and nobody else, not even the dude bumping into me in front while he tried to balance the line of cocaine on the base of his thumb, would have heard what I said. A whisper in the quiet night stands out, but if you're in the middle of a mosh pit at an EDM festival, nobody even hears the loudest scream. You become the obvious choice by finding the quiet space, not yelling louder in an already noisy space. Ren, stop touching your nipples.
I can't help it. I'm having
That
night
sound, that
terrors about
staticky
this.
sound, everybody, if you're listening to this on a podcast, that's the sound of Ren's nipple touching the front of his shirt.
They're electric. Boogie, wiggy, wiggy.
Wiki wiki wah. We left Veld early and got home by 10:30 p.m. It was a late night for these two parents.
10:30.
I promise to continue to try to not act my age. I don't like my odds. But here's the thing, the internet's full of quiet spaces. Finding them isn't hard. To do it, you've got to accept that you're probably weird and there are others that are weird in that same way, and that's kind of cool. Brian Purup was making travel television shows with China. Then COVID-19 happened. Everything that he had built for 10 years vanished in an instant. So to pass the time, he started sharing about his secret obsession, which was baseball cards. It began with a video posted to a new TikTok account about the 1986 Donruss Jose Canseco rookie card he had at his desk. 37,000 people watched it. So we did another one the next day about Ken Griffey Jr.'s Upper Deck rookie card. The same one that I have behind me at my desk the entire time. 100,000 people watched it in the first 24 hours. It's amazing how shameful I felt about sports cards, said Brian. I mean, this has been a huge hobby of mine since I was a kid, but there was this feeling that as a grown man I shouldn't be going and buying trading cards, that it's something that kids do. Once I started talking about it these past 2 years, I realized that it's a normal thing. There's a lot of dudes doing this. I'm one of those dudes. Like Brian, I'm irrationally passionate about baseball cards. Specifically, I'm obsessed with my Ken Griffey Jr. rookie cards, and I could geek out and go on and on about obscure facts about the junk wax era of the 90s for hours. For example, this rookie card, Ken Griffey Jr.'s famous Upper Deck rookie card, this was actually doctored. It's an airbrushed photo of him in his minor league San Bernardino uniform. The company rushed to be the first to release his rookie. By the time this card was put out, he hadn't ever actually worn a Seattle Mariners jersey. Brian's my favorite person to follow on the internet. Behind whom to marry and where to live, deciding on what you do for work is the most important decision you're ever going to make. And there's a lot of opportunities. I suggest you choose a market you're irrationally obsessed with. Next, you got to make sure that others share your obsession. Russell Brunson, in his book Expert Secrets, suggests 4 things that exist in obsessed markets. Number 1, communities. Are there groups, YouTube accounts, blogs, and podcasts already dedicated to it? Number 2, vocabulary. Does the market have its own special language? Number 3 is events. Do events like conferences, summits, seminars, or shows exist for it? And number 4, other experts. Are there other experts and gurus in the market? If these 4 things don't exist, you might just be a little bit too weird. But maybe not. But it might not be a great market for your irrational obsession. My guess is that they do, though. What usually ends up happening with most things we feel shame about in life, says Brian, is that once we start telling people about it and being our authentic self, people love it. Irrational obsession results in boundless energy. Brian spent 300 nights in a Marriott hotel last year. He has so much fun talking to other collectors and card shop owners that he can't not do it. He attends every show, he visits every shop, sharing their journey on social media. As a result, he's gained both the most loyal online following and the largest Rolodex of nostalgic sports card collecting enthusiasts. It's not just the topic you're geeking out on every day, says Brian. It's who you're geeking out with. You hear the advice to surround yourself with good people in order to be successful all of the time. And I think that that's good advice. But it's not just good people you need, it's your good people. When you're personally obsessed about a thing, you understand it in ways others don't. What aspects of the market frustrate you? Why hasn't somebody built a better widget for this? You should ask. If it bothers you, it bothers other people like you too. In Brian's case, it was the old way of displaying and protecting cards. In 2022, a 1952 Topps Mickey Mantle rookie card sold for $12.6 million. The treasure was displayed in an ugly-ass plastic case with no ultraviolet light protection. To collectors, cards are art pieces, yet they're stored in junky plastic and degrade over time if displayed due to light exposure. Brian scratched his own itch and launched the Mint Case, M1NT, a beautiful new way to store and display collectibles. It's the first ever innovation of its kind in sports card collecting's 140-year history. During his travels, Brian shared prototypes of his Mint Case with card shop owners, trade show sellers, and podcasters, getting feedback. Irrationally obsessed people love to give their opinion. And as a result, the pre-sale list for Mint is thousands of names strong. But it's not just collectors. Professional athletes are on social media too, and many of them are fans of Brian because of the joy he's bringing back to the hobby. Ken Griffey Jr. loves the Mint Case. According to his manager, Griffey takes it with him everywhere and shows it to people with his 1989 Upper Deck rookie card inside. The card inside the case that Griffey shows off? It's Brian's from when he was young, given to Griffey as a gift when he was invited to the kid's house to hang out and talk cards. Probably 1% of people reading this book know and care about sports cards. If that's you, we just had a connection. And that 1% that makes you different is how you connect, not the 99% that makes you the same. Watching Brian's videos brought me back to my childhood. They brought me joy. So one day I messaged him to say thanks. And we spoke on the phone. He told me about Mint because it hadn't publicly been announced yet. And said that he was about to look for 5 investors. I asked how much money he needed. He told me. And I said not to bother. I'll take the entire investment round. Irrational obsession is a beacon that attracts your people to you. On December 4th, 2009, Google began using algorithms to personalize our internet by invisibly editing our experience of the internet. Your filter bubble, according to the internet activist Ellie Pariser, is your own personal, unique universe of information that you live in online. In 2010, the former CEO of Google, Eric Schmidt, said that it will be very hard for people to watch or consume something that has not in some sense been tailored to them. When asked why a personalized algorithm is so important, Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg said that a squirrel dying in front of your house may be more relevant to your interests right now than people dying in Africa. Our filter bubbles are our that's a hard thing to say. Our filter bubbles are our online echo chambers. I'm not looking forward to this book. I have to read it. Reading audiobooks, by the way, for anybody who's ever done it, not fun. So I hope that you appreciate it when the author reads their own audiobook, because it is... I'm going to have to sit in a studio for like 8 hours and read this thing. What you see on the internet and what I see are different, even if we search the same thing, and they are all that we see. As a result, an almost infinite amount of special interest groups have been created. Each one has celebrities. The members of these groups trust one another. Trust and kinship result from shared interests. Exposure therapy impacts our thinking. We place importance on things we see often, even if we're the only one who sees them and our family and friends think we're weirdos. Like Christina. She loves space. Just going to circle to change that because I flipped around some stuff. Didn't mention her earlier. The original line in here says the CrossFitter from earlier because originally I had like a mention of her earlier, but then I changed it. Didn't mention her. Len, take up space for a second.
Yeah, I think
Please.
I met her. Is that the Christina that I met at the Evolve Strength Conference? I think I met dark-haired last.
No, she wasn't there. But I appreciate you taking up space.
You're welcome.
Christina Martina and her partner own 3 CrossFit gyms and were voted the best in their city. They wanted less stress and more profit, so they shut down 2 locations and built an online program. It was not going well, though. I have stage fright, she said to me on a consulting call. I'm so very, very new online. That's why I'm scared to talk right now. I don't know the right thing to say or how to talk to people besides just being their friend, she said. Christina was shy and unsure of herself. She felt stuck. They had a stellar reputation locally. Online, not so much. Online, they were just another fitness social media account in a sea of wannabe influencers telling people to squat and lunge and do sit-ups and stuff. Nobody outside of their community in Poughkeepsie knew who they were. And yes, that's a real place. And yes, I will take a field trip with you there. And yes, we can pose for a picture together in front of the city sign. Obviously. What's your, secret nerdy obsession? I asked Christina. What do you mean? She said. Outside of fitness, is there anything that you do where you're like, man, I am unjustifiably obsessed with this thing? Oh my God, astrophysics and cometology, she said. So, okay, I saw the craziest comet last week. And then at this point, she actually interrupted me. Christina went from being shy with stage fright to excitedly interrupting me in less than a minute. Did you see it? She asked. I want to ask you whether I actually saw it, because it was the weirdest thing I've ever seen in the sky. We saw this thing. It was a light, but it was trailing a bunch of lights. Some spiritual guy on the beach said it was an alien, but I'm pretty sure he was on drugs, I said. It sounds like you saw the SpaceX launch from the Jet Propulsion Laboratory in Pasadena, she replied. She then told me what direction it was moving in and described what rocket launches looked like in the sky. So that's good to know. My son Calvin's going to be disappointed it wasn't an alien, though. But did you notice what just happened? I said. Yeah. I got really excited, she replied with a smile. Christina knows how to help people gain muscle and lose fat. She could give it fancy words and film pretty videos, but at the end of the day, that's what she does. The majority of fitness clients just need to eat a bit better and move a bit more. Fitness is simple. It's not easy, but it's simple. Saying the same things as everybody else is comfortable. It feels safe, but there's tens of thousands of people saying the same nice-sounding words as you online. The secret isn't some video hack or improvement in production quality. It's to lean into your geeky side, to find your own parade, to discover the quiet space. In this case, that space is literally outer space. Imagine if instead of promoting a get toned for the summer program like the other 100,000 Fitfluencers, Christina formed the Space Nerd Athleticism and Sexification Association, SNASA. Once formed, her vision becomes clear, marketing more comfortable and world less scary. It might even become fun. So let's play with the SNASA concept. Number 1, rename exercises with an outer space theme. Medicine ball slams or big bangs. Number 2, join online communities with other space geeks. Number 3, train comatology micro-influencers for free. I'm sure that they exist. Number 4, pitch space blogs and magazines on custom workouts timed around launches and meteor sightings. Number 5, theme weight loss plans around Pluto because the gassy ice dwarf has the lowest gravitational pull. That's a space joke. If you don't get it, you shouldn't join SNASA. You could also do weight gain plans based around Jupiter because Jupiter has the largest gravitational pull. I know all these because I read Calvin's space books to him. And you learn some things from those things. And then finally, send new members an official SNAStronaut badge. Comatology-obsessed fitness isn't a big pond, but it's big enough. And if she forms SNASA, she'd own it. We're going to take up time. I got to make some edits, please.
Yeah, I want a SNASA button. That's all I took for that. Yeah, I want Christina. If you
I
got
would
this,
I
send
would
me a
rock a
SNASA
sna-
button.
I would I'd rock a SNAStronaut badge, 100%.
Shirt.
On my list is to do a Girl Scout kind of badge thing. Like, they have the sash.
Yeah.
And to have different badges that you get as you complete different tasks and, being able to, give them to clients to, add to their sash one of these days. That or the pins that you do at Disney World.
So I did something like that back in the day.
Yeah.
Not like Girl Scout badges, but I did this thing where it was a certificate that I give to new clients, and there was spaces all around it for stickers. And as they completed certain tasks, or they did their first bodyweight deadlift, or they did whatever there is, I'd give them that sticker for it, and they put it on their thing. And so all of them displayed it on the fridge. And it was good to keep them motivated. But then when friends and family or anybody came over, of course, what's the first thing they see? They see this thing on the fridge. All of a sudden, they're asking them how they do it, and it actually generated referrals. It was great, super cheap. Printed it out myself, buy a bunch of stickers. It was great. Wasn't a sash, but yeah, it was just a piece of paper with a bunch of spots for stickers, basically. I didn't give anybody anything once they finished it. I was like, great job. You're now in a little bit less bad shape than you were before. That should be reward enough.
I have that template that I did forever ago. Someone actually reached out to me about it today, about the scratch-off sticker poster for a challenge. And I could easily do the same thing for that. So that's funny that
you could do it with scratch-off stickers or with a scratch-off thing too.
Yeah, super.
And then you could have Easter eggs, funny
Yep.
little things.
So if anybody wants the template, send me an email. I'll send it to you.
There you go. Amber at theptdc.com.
Exactly.
Any complaints about the show, also send them there, please.
Yeah. Or keep them to yourself.
Yeah, that works too. Can they pay? So remember Ben Mudge from near the beginning of this episode? What I didn't tell you is that he was born with a disease that affects lung function called cystic fibrosis. So he was actually supposed to be dead by the age of 38. Chronic illnesses like cystic fibrosis are not only unfair physically, they're unfair financially as well. The required medicine can be expensive and treatment limiting for certain careers. Ben wanted to help his community, so he built a cheap membership platform with tools, resources, and workouts for people battling cystic fibrosis. It failed. Acquiring a cheap customer is often just as hard as acquiring a customer who pays a premium. The only difference is that cheap services leave you with less profit. There wasn't money to acquire customers and make Ben's community the value resource it needed to be, so he shut it down and focused on the Warhammer crowd. Armed with the profits from this new direction, Ben's now free to help people born with CF and not have to charge for it. The best way to help his community wasn't to try to make money off of them. It was to build a highly profitable business elsewhere and use it to serve them. Once again, revisiting the book Expert Secrets, Russell Brunson wrote that sometimes people are willing to spend money, but they aren't able. They're broke. Other times, people have all the money in the world. They're able, but not willing, to part with the dime. To demonstrate the difference, he gave the example of two people that failed trying to sell information. The first was in the video game market. Kids who his friend attracted wanted the product, but they didn't have any money. The second was in business development services to engineers. As Brunson says, these people had money but weren't willing to spend it on coaching. So the following three-stage framework comes from the textbook The Fundamentals of Online Training, which is the textbook that comes along with the Online Trainer Academy. If you're interested in that, just go onlinetrainer.com/academy. You can enroll, you can get the textbook. This is specific to fitness, but it can be applied to really any industry. Stage 1 is to break down everything you do into 4 markets. Right? 4 grand markets. These are pretty big. This should take you 2 seconds to do. So in fitness, like what would they be? I don't know. Sports performance, general health, fat loss, and corrective exercise, let's say. Stage 2 is to branch off each market that applies to you into 3 to 4 submarkets. So for example, fat loss, you might branch it off into men, women, and college students. Corrective exercise, you might break it off into mobility, injury, and pre- and postnatal. So on. Right? Stage 3 is to add in your uniqueness. So it's basically the last branch off of that. So if you were to go fat loss and then women, maybe you'd go dog lovers, for example. Once you've narrowed it down, put your 1% uniqueness factor through a quick 3-part filter. Is it unique? Are people irrationally passionate about it? Are these people both willing and able to spend money? If you can say yes to all 3, you're good to go. Like Rhonda. Rhonda is the obvious choice for humans who want to work out with their dog. Canine fitness is a serious thing. She's certified in it. There's special dog days all throughout the year. There's special days for everything. Literally everything. And they make for great marketing and PR opportunities. August 8th is National Bowling Day. The first Friday of every November is Love Your Lawyer Day. If lawyers get a day, y'all, there are days for everybody. October 4th is National Taco Day, but of course tacos are too awesome to only have one day. They have 3. January 25th is National Fish Taco Day, and March 21st is National Crunchy Taco Day. What? Fish tacos? What's wrong with you, Amber?
Fish tacos gross.
What?
I don't like any seafood.
Come on now. Come on
now.
now.
It's all disgusting. But fun fact, so yeah, I know. But you can buy a national holiday. I think it's like $5,000, and you get your national holiday on their website and marketing and whatever I've looked into this, and that's how you can create your own national holiday. So if you have extra money to spend and want to tinker with it, that could be fun.
You know what a better way to do is to start the website for the national holidays. God, what a scam that is, man. Yeah, either way. The special days of the year are easy to build promotions around. All that you need is your 1% uniqueness factor. So for example, January 14th is Dress Up Your Pet Day. Rhonda could reach out to a dog influencer on Instagram and offer to do a collab video where she'd buy a costume and they'd film a dog workout. The entire month of February is Pet Dental Health Month. I told you, there is everything. She'd team up with her doggy dentist for dog workouts. February 3rd is National Golden Retriever Day. She'd collaborate with a popular golden retriever online for the workout. I'm sure they exist. August 30th is National Adopt a Shelter Pet Day. She'd call up her local news outlets and tell them she's going to do a human dog workout to raise money and awareness for the local shelter. Local news are constantly looking for stories. These types of days are gold if you can get ahead of it. A lot of people in fitness are trying to be the best choice and are struggling. To her people, Rhonda's the obvious choice because she's leaned into the 1% that makes her different, not the 99% that makes her the same. Different is better than better. Thank you.
Was that a period, John?
That's the end, my friend.
Oh, good job, John. Way to go, buddy. I like that excerpt. That's good. Super informative too.
Were there any parts that you particularly jumped out where you're just like, yeah, hell yeah?
The space comment. When you're talking about, like, there was a line where you're like something about space and like literally outer space, whatever that line was, I was like, I gotta remember to tell him that I really like that part. It was the end of that section talking about SNASA, I think.
Yeah, what was that one?
It had almost like a musicality to it, like it just landed perfectly. It was great.
Well, what was that?
Maybe we hallucinated collectively.
Nah, I remember saying it.
Do you, John?
I remember saying it. Yeah, I don't know what it is.
Collective
Here. It's in the middle, that's why. The secret isn't some video hack or improvement in production quality. It's to lean into your geeky side, to find your own parade, to discover the quiet space. In this case, that space is literally outer space.
Yeah. I liked that.
Very nice.
Okay, that's cool. All right. Wen, anything with you?
Yeah, I wasn't paying too much attention to your writing,
Good.
but the stories were awesome. Particularly Ben, because Ben's like, he's one of the objectively nicest humans that you'll ever meet in your life. Just a
if you don't like
guy.
Ben, you have a personality.
We've spoken a fair bit the last couple of days because I just I fact check the stuff with him, right?
Yeah.
And the same with Brian, I fact check it with him, so they've seen those sections, and so yeah, he's a sweetheart.
It's really nice. But I love the fact that he leaned. Here's what I love about the Ben story: the willingness to shift, right? Because as a mentor in the academy, there are so many students who have a lack of willingness to shift, or they feel as if the first decision has to be their last decision ever in life. It can never be changed, no matter what new information comes in. And to see Ben go from that Thor persona to building a subscription-based service for folks that are dealing with cystic fibrosis, to shifting again to the Warhammer persona, and then just pursuing it 1,000% to the extent where you say, "Hey, if I'm in your area, could I stop by?" And they say yes, and you say, "Okay, I'll be in your area soon. I'm just gonna fly from Ireland to Canada real quick and drop by." Like, that's a level of commitment to letting your flag fly that scares the shit out of a lot of the students that we talk to.
Yeah.
And it's just a great story. It's just a great story.
I'm getting a delivery right now, and I'm pretty sure that it's baseball cards that I've ordered.
Nice. I saw you perk up in your seat, John. You got a little guilty.
I told Calvin, Allison was there, and I told Calvin, like, Calvin, we're getting. It's one of her actually brothers did something really great with Calvin. Calvin loves Transformers.
So do I.
And yeah, right. And one of her brothers collected comic books and stuff like that. And so one night, his name's Trevor. He gave Calvin a comic book, and he said, "Okay, here's the deal. This comic book is what's called a collector's item, which means that it's valuable. So the next time I see you, you're of course allowed to read it. It was in a like plastic thing, right?
Right.
He goes, of course you're allowed to take it out and read it, but you need to take care of it." And he showed him a little bit how to take care of it. And he said, "If the next time I see you, bring the comic book, and if it's still in good condition, I'll give you another one."
Nice.
Aww.
And I really love that. So I told Calvin, I said, "Calvin, I ordered baseball cards, but there's a chance," I'm like, not a good chance, but like there's a chance with the baseball cards that I ordered that there's going to be something in them that actually could be worth a bunch of money. So when we open them this time, we need to be really careful with them, like the collector's comic that you got." And Allison just looks at me. She goes, "Oh God, we're doing this."
Yes, you are. Get ready.
I was like, you get your knitting, and I get baseball cards.
Okay, well, if you get anything good, send me a picture, please.
Yeah, well, you're a St. Louis fan, right? Cardinals?
Well, I grew up in a St. Louis and Yankees household, so I root for the Rays as a neutral.
Yeah, I mean, I don't support the Yankees in any way, so I won't support that. St. Louis is fine. Tampa Bay, I mean, fine. Who cares? They're
Basically,
never gonna win. Doesn't matter.
Can't really offend with that one.
Yeah. Anything in this that kind of dragged on for you guys? Doesn't have to be anything, but was there anything where as I was reading it, you're like, yo, get to the point, dude?
I personally thought it was well paced. I like that it moved from one story to story to story and then back to summarizing Ben. I thought that was interesting to circle back around. I remember previous episode where you talked about, I can't remember if it was the editor specifically, but I remember you talking about them talking to you about circling back around to the overall. And I thought you did a good job of that, bringing it back around to Ben at the end.
You need to finish it. You can't open a loop and not finish it.
Right.
The finishing of the story is kind of the reward. The story with Brian, I kind of want to, like the fact that I invested in his company, I kind of want to make that punchier at the end and see if I can figure that out. Because, I mean, to be honest, finding Brian was like my McDonald's moment. Do you know the story with Ray Kroc?
Mm-hmm.
Where...
Remind me.
Thank you. So that's how you support somebody in a podcast, Ren. When somebody says, hey, did you hear about the thing where? Even if you've heard about it, you're like, no, tell me. That sounds so interesting.
I'm really interested in
if somebody ever asks you, you're like, yo, guess how many times this happened. You purposefully guess like a really low number, even if you know what the answer it is, you know the range, just to support. That's the bro code.
I'm sorry. I'll do better, John.
I'll ask you again.
Improve.
Do you guys know the McDonald's story? The story with Ray Kroc?
There's a story about McDonald's?
Oh my God, there is. Thank you, and for
See?
glad you're so interested.
Thought of nothing else.
As the story goes. So, I mean, it's often hailed, Ray Kroc, of course, the owner of McDonald's, but he didn't start it. McDonald's was started by the McDonald's brothers. And Ray Kroc is often hailed as like, hey, you're not too old to start something. He was like 52 when he took over McDonald's. For decades, he was a traveling salesman. And so he first sold Dixie cups, like literally paper Dixie cups, on the road in his car. Didn't make much money at all. And then he sold milkshake makers. And he sold them to little burger joints and stuff. And then he got wind that there were these two brothers that had this burger joint. I don't remember what it was, but he got wind that there were these two brothers that had this burger joint that were using two of these milkshake makers at the same time consecutively. And he was like, how in the world are they doing that? Like, how do they have that many customers? How can they turn those customers around that fast? And so he traveled to go see it. And that's when Ray Kroc discovered McDonald's. And immediately he recognized the brilliance that everybody else missed. That these guys had figured out a way to systematize and operationalize a burger joint to maintain the quality and provide the standards of the quality and cycle customers through as quickly as they were cycling them through. And ended up becoming their partner, and then actually it was kind of messy, but like basically shoved them out and turned McDonald's into what McDonald's is. But what I love about that story is Kroc would not have recognized that brilliance if he hadn't spent 20 years on the road, seen hundreds of burger joints and watching how they operate and talking to people and listening to all the frustrations and also knowing the numbers behind them because he was selling them some of their goods. So he didn't know the numbers behind them, but he knew how much they were producing because he was selling them their milkshake makers and Dixie cups and stuff like that. Finding Brian when he was telling me about Mint and his story was my McDonald's moment. I'm not an angel investor at all. I had no desire. I had never done anything like this before. But everything, I've been in this world now for as long as just about anybody has been in this world. I mean, not decades because the world hasn't existed for decades, but 13 years of social media, of online business, and when I came across him and it's passion based, all of the stuff checked off of community, vocabulary, events, The thing has been around for 140 years. If something's been around, if a hobby's been around for 140 years, it's not going anywhere. There's going to be ups and downs, 100%, but it's not going anywhere. For some reason, humans really like pictures of other people printed on cardboard. I don't know why, but we obviously do. It's not going anywhere. And then you get this guy whose background is television production. Great for today. You get this guy who's been obsessed with this thing since he was young, collecting all of these stories, and he is on the road 300 days a year, shaking hands one by one by one, meeting the card shop owners, and he's giving all of them value. Predictably irrational, Dan Ariely. One of the major things that he talks about all of the time. Oh no, this is Influence by Robert Cialdini. One of the main ways to influence somebody and persuade somebody is what's called reciprocation. Basically, you give them something first. Well, every single person that Brian meets, he gives a pack of cards and they open up a pack with. Or he'll walk into, and he doesn't tell them he's coming, he doesn't do it in advance, he doesn't get them to pay him. But Brian has a big following in this world. He's one of the biggest followings in this world, definitely the most loyal. And he goes into these little card shops in the middle of nowhere. And he walks in with his camera. He, of course, gets permission, right? He films it, but then he gets permission to do it. And he talks and he gets the history of the card shop from the card shop owner. And he opens up packs with them and he buys a box of cards from them. And he goes to everybody there. And he's like, hey, we're looking for Don Mattingly's. And everybody in the card shop starts opening packs. And then he puts it on his social media and talks about how great the card shop is and recommends people visit. Well, you bet your ass that card shop owner is going to support him. And he's been doing this for now 2 years. Like I said, 300 days on the road. All of the podcasts, all of the individuals. You can't, this combination of factors, in addition to just the knowledge of the industry and the product that he's built, you can't fail. And the minute that I saw it, I don't think other people quite got, I don't even know if Brian quite, it was just so genuinely him. I don't know, he was just doing this stuff because he loved it, but I looked at him and I was just like, shit, dude, this is my Ray Kroc moment. The minute that he told me, I was just talking to him on the phone because he was he sounded like a cool dude, and we were chatting on the phone and he told me about it. He told me how much money he was looking to raise from, basically split between 5 people. And it's a significant amount of money. And I didn't look at the numbers. I didn't look at anything. It was probably the stupidest investment as far as investments go anybody will ever make. Because I said to him by the end of the phone call, I didn't know anything about his numbers. I didn't know where he was in production. I didn't check his IP to make sure that he had the trademarks and that he had the patents that he said that he has. I just said, I'll take the whole thing. And I still never checked numbers. Yeah, the contract got back and forth a few times just to make sure that the percentage ownership and stuff like that was right. But I never did any due diligence, no nothing, which is probably stupid. But I looked at all that stuff and it's just, I feel like when you're in something for long enough, you know it when you see it. And I knew it when I saw it, man. It is, you could not possibly put together a better mix of attributes of industry, of irrational obsession, of product that hasn't had any innovation in it, the size of the market. It's really pretty wild. So it's going to be fun the next couple of years to see what happens with that. And then, of course, there's Magic cards and Pokemon cards and stuff like that, which is a whole different beast. And I can't say some things that are not public yet, but there's some pretty cool stuff happening with it. So I got to make that one Horton jump out more. John. What's up?
That sweet Tim Horton right here, man. Some guy.
Do you have it?
Gave it. Yeah, some guy.
You brought it home?
Yeah. It's
you brought it home?
It's my first ever Tim Hortons hockey card. Didn't know they had cards for hockey. Didn't know hockey existed. Didn't know Tim Hortons was somebody besides a restaurant with questionably
That's why I was
delicious
just laughing.
donuts.
I was so confused. Why are you talking about a restaurant? I was so confused.
Well, Tim Horton was a Toronto Maple Leaf. Really, really, really good Toronto Maple Leaf.
I have no idea.
I don't remember exactly what the story is. He basically got royally fucked on the coffee shop. I feel like he was like a partner and they used his name and then they like kicked him out or something. They basically like ripped him off and got the name. It's actually kind of, there was something like that. I can't remember what it is. But I mean, that's the other part of that I didn't talk about because it didn't really fit with the theme of the chapter. But that's the other part about just being unabashedly yourself and being authentic and irrational obsession is when you lead with that, even if somebody doesn't share that with you, I feel like as humans, we really, really appreciate when somebody else is just being their goofy self. So at the conference in Edmonton that Gwen and I were both at the Evolve Fitness Conference, Andrew Coates' thing, it was in Edmonton. What do you do in Edmonton? I don't know. You go to Tim Hortons. Not a lot to do in Edmonton. And love you, Andrew. Great event. But not a lot to do in Edmonton. So I went to Tim Hortons and I bought 40 packs of hockey cards. Cost me like $50 or whatever, $60. And I walked around and I handed them out to people. Any American that I found, I was like, welcome to Canada. And I gave them a pack of hockey cards. And like Ren, I mean, who really gives a shit, right? They're not worth anything. But it was just a fun way to connect. And I've done that a number of different times with people that I've had a chance to spend some time with in the last 4 months. I've spent time with these people that I'll mention a bit and I'll name drop a little bit. And the reason why I consider them a friend and I think they consider me a friend and we have each other's phone numbers and we text message back and forth now is because I brought up the topic of collecting sports cards, of baseball cards. And I didn't know that they were interested in. So Jason Pfeiffer, who I've mentioned a few times in this podcast, he's the editor-in-chief of Entrepreneur Magazine. Jason collected basketball cards when he was young, and he wrote letters to every single player of every single card that he got and included the card in it, and he asked for their autograph. And they sent it back to him. He has hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of cards autographed in a binder at home. I gave him 2 packs of 1989 Bowman and Fleer baseball cards. I was like, open it with your son. I won't say his son's name, but open it with your son. And he goes, I'm going to open this with my father-in-law, man. He's going to be so excited. Adam Franklin, who runs Franklin Sports, gloves, bats, but like all types of sports gears. Adam started talking to him about baseball cards, and he just started going again to card shows with his son, who's now 14, and they go to card shows and buy cards. And so I know his son's favorite baseball player, and we're going to send his son a card of his favorite baseball player in a mint case. Garib Seamus, who co-founded Comic-Con, his parent, he opens up packs of cards every single weekend with his family. And his parents started a card shop in the 1980s that his brother still runs. This is what happens when you are more open to show yourself in an authentic way to people you meet, particularly people professionally you meet, than, oh, what do you do for a living? Oh, that's got to be cool. How's Ryan Reynolds in real life anyway? Right? We did talk about what's her name, Gal Gadot. We did talk about her a fair bit. He's just like she's perfect. It just doesn't, like, what you see on screen is how she is. He goes, it doesn't make sense. He goes, there's something that I've realized about these celebrities. And he talked about a lot of the Marvel Universe people. He just goes, it's like they're walking on air. It just, the way that they're able to carry themselves and even just converse with you and make you feel special when you're with them. He goes, it's truly a superpower. But everybody talks to him about that. What? So, let your geek flag fly. Do I have to recommend another episode?
Yeah, recommend another episode, John.
Which one? What topic do you want?
I don't know.
Oh God. Okay. This is a bad way to end the episode.
I never know the episode titles or numbers. I don't even know where
Let's
you
do
get
this
get
one
it from. Do you have a list or something?
I just open up Spotify and I literally
Okay.
just like hit the scroll and let it scroll, and then I look at where it lands. Like that's how
I thought it
recommend
was
these
me
episodes.
because I'm like, I don't
No.
even remember things that I've said or topics until somebody says something to me. It's just a blur to me.
Yeah. Oh my God. Jeez. Well, I was gonna pick one and then I didn't like that one. So what's this? What's this? Okay. How about this? This is a hot seat episode. It's episode 119. The title of the episode is Client Spotlights Without Half-Naked Photos. So that again is episode 119. I recommend you check it out. Have a listen if you're looking for something else to listen to. It's called Client Spotlights Without Half-Naked Photos. I have no idea what the episode's about, but it's a damn good title that sounds like it'd be interesting. So check that one out. I hope that you like it. Amber, thanks for the great episode title names.